What is going on? Everybody has been on Josh Allen injury watch for the last 72 hours. It's starting to wind down. We'll find out soon if he plays on Sunday or not. I kind of think not. I got my guests with me today, James Mallory, Sarah Larson.
Oh,
We got a lot of things to talk about tonight. The Bills are 0-2 in the AFC against the AFC East inside the division right now, 6-2 on the season total. We're going to talk about Ed Oliver and their lack thereof Ed Oliver's impact. And then we're going to talk about the struggles of our franchise quarterback in Josh Allen. And Case Keenum may be our guy moving forward for maybe a week, maybe a couple weeks. We know it's not season ending, but we got a lot to talk about. And when we come back, that's exactly what we're going to do. Thank you for tuning into your, should be Tuesday touchdown, but today is Thursday touchdown. Hopefully you're not watching the toilet bowl that is the Falcons and the Panthers. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. And yeah, obviously, if you guys live under the rock, or if you don't want to talk about it, we're gonna bring it up anyway. The Bills lost to the New York Jets on Sunday, 20-17, in an abysmal effort of what our quarterback described as a shit effort from him, and I couldn't agree with him more. I glad for accountability, but we gotta talk about it tonight. I know we like to say all nice things about Josh back there, number 17, but tonight I'm gonna have to talk about it a little bit. So, if you don't like talking about Josh Allen, this ain't going to be the show for you tonight. But, hey, what's going on, James Mallory? Thanks for coming in tonight. What's going on, man? Anything new?
Yeah, coming in our Buffalo Vets, we won the championship. Do we talk about that?
Yeah, we did talk about that last week.
I just want to make sure everybody know we won the championship.
34 to nothing.
I know we did. I just want to make sure,
everybody knows, right?
So if you got a son or daughter that plays football or cheer between 5 and 14, bring them to the Buffalo Vets.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, man, just ready to talk some Bills talk with y'all. Glad to have Sarah back with us tonight, and we about to have some fun.
Sarah, what's going on?
hey, what's up, guys? Just traveling a lot. Sorry I haven't been able to make it on a couple of shows, but with all the traveling, it gets a little difficult sometimes.
You do your thing. That's it. We get it. Like I said, you keep racking up those air miles. That's all. Air points. I have to borrow some from you for my next vacation. But no, obviously, the Bills. It was a tale of two halves on Sunday. Bills went in the half. We thought they're going to have 14-3. Obviously, the Jets made it 14-10 before halftime, and they completely stifled the Bills' offense in the second half. I think that the lack of a running game reared its ugly head for us. And I think that the defense got a little worn down. And obviously, like I said, second to last play of the game, Josh Allen gets hurt. With what our guy Kyle Trimble from Bang the Bills is calling, it seems like maybe a minor UCL tear, which with rest and rehab, he should be able to come back healthy. But that's normally a couple week thing. It sucks that our bye week is already passed. But this is what we're dealt with. James, just real quick, we're gonna recap the game very, very, very quickly. What did you see from this game, from the offense, from the defensive standpoint? What went right? What went wrong? What does this team need to build on moving forward?
I don't look at it as a big deal. Some people are like, "Oh, Josh didn't play well." We know this, but now that's a gut check for the rest of the team. Where it's like, okay, if he's not spectacular, we gotta step our game up. So I think that's a gut check for everybody else. Like, hey, running backs, receivers, tight ends, defensive line, everybody. We got to step our game up. If Josh isn't playing spectacular, we got to do the other things that much better to give us a chance to win. So I'm really not tripping about it. So we good.
Sarah, you went to the one too, right?
Oh yeah,
Okay. You went to everyone. Okay, let's make sure.
29 straight.
Oh, that's a hell of a streak.
Yeah, it's a crazy streak, and I kind of get nervous to break it. But yeah, I kind of see two things right now over the last two games, and it's been our offensive line not giving Josh the time. And then when they do give him the time, I don't feel like our wide receivers, not named Diggs, are getting open. And then, you know, the few times where it doesn't matter if they get open, Josh is still putting the ball where it needs to be. They're not catching it. And it's kind of a perfect storm of, you know, all the things that can go wrong on offense. And it's a little unfortunate. I feel like our offense and our defense kind of play off of each other. So if we're not doing well on offense, then it all falls on the defense. So then you think the defense is going to go out there, make a couple of great plays, and then we're going to get the ball back and then, you know, be able to make a great play. But then when we get the ball back, we do it, you know, we have a turnover or something, and it's just deflating. I think that's what we've kind of been going through the last 2 weeks. And even though we beat Green Bay, we had issues towards the end of that game. Yeah. The second half, we did not look good.
No, and I wonder if it's a little complacency. You know what I mean? Because it seemed like they came out with that Jets game, and they came out very lackadaisical. If I felt like they were lackadaisical even before the Jets came back and took the lead at the end of the game, and then once the Jets kicked the field goal, it's like, we got to have a sense of urgency here. We got to move, and it's kind of hard in the NFL to turn that switch on. Once it's off, it's off. You know, obviously Von Miller got the key strip sack, which is, once again, why he's here. And then closing roll, making a big play at a key moment. And you would think at that point in time, okay, this is the momentum switch. This is the final momentum switch. And now Josh is going to take this offense down, score. The defense is going to stop this Jets offense. And we're going to get out of here with this W and be 7-1. But obviously it did not happen. And one thing I will say is, to your point, Sarah, about people dropping balls, somebody else other than Stephon Diggs absolutely has to start making plays. Dawson Knox is getting paid $54 million. Like I said, I'm all for keeping your core. To this day, I'm still questioning that contract extension over some other guys. Okay?
And I think we talked about that several weeks ago, actually a couple months ago now, but I think we talked about that. I said, you know, honestly, he would not have been the person I decided to extend out of everyone, you know, especially considering we were looking at Poyer and Edmonds and kind of contracts they need. I was extremely surprised, but, you know, I think that they thought he was going to have more of a role this year.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's, you know, play calling or if it's him coming back from, you know, an injury and then the emotional, you know, stint of him losing his brother and whatnot. But he just he's not performed like he deserved that contract extension. And to be honest, I actually enjoy, you know, pretty much having, I don't want to say having, it sounds terrible if I say it. I've enjoyed when he's not been on the field because I feel like it opens up our offense a little bit more. I'd rather have, you know, a fourth wide receiver out there instead.
I don't disagree with what you're saying there. It just seems to me that a guy that you gave a stitch of $54 million, and like I said, I wanted to back off him the first couple weeks of the season. Obviously, a tragic loss with his brother, right? Not going to assume that he's in the right mind of football yet. It was going to take a little bit of time to get going here. But now, you know, we're weeks into the season where we're week 9 in, and I don't know if it's him or, like you say, it's the play calling. But someone getting paid that type of money, you need to have a package of plays to ensure that he gets the ball every game because you just paid him for this. I'm not paying him for a late game safety blanket here and there sometimes, a red zone target. You don't get paid $54 million for that, James.
My thing is this: you got to make plays. Period. Talking about Dawson Knox. play calling or not, if you're on the field, your job is to get open. Usually, you don't have your tight end running people off. So therefore, if you're a tight end, your route is probably live. You got to get open to make plays. So if you are on the field and this is passing down, passing play, you have to make the play. You have to get open. You have to make yourself available, catch the ball, and make a play. You're paid that money to make plays. If I have to scheme open my tight end who I'm paying $54 million, that's a problem. We can go get somebody, pay them, $5 to $7 million a year. Just scheme them to get open. If I got to scheme my $54 million tight end to get open, we made a mistake. I think he's better than what he's played. It's a lot of personal things going on. We get it. But this talking football-wise, you have to get open, period. If I got to scheme somebody open who I'm paying $54 million to, we messed up. I'm not paying you $15 million in 2 seasons to scheme and have my OC got to scheme and plot to get you open. If they playing man, you just got to beat your man, period.
Yeah, I mean, that's just one of our problems. And once again, we go back to this running game that, once again, outside of Josh Allen, was non-existent. And I keep saying this, right? We gave our running backs a total of 12 carries, not including the 1 carry by Isaiah McKenzie for 9 yards. So off 12 carries, our running backs got 39 yards. Now, mind you, this was not the best rushing game that we had. Josh Allen had 9 for 86 and 2 touchdowns. I know at the deadline we were doing our due diligence, as we'll call it, on McCaffrey and Kamara. And it's starting to worry me a little bit because it seems to me that Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott can't figure out a way to get this running game going. And now they're looking to make a big splash to get a one person to fix this running game. And if you look out through the history of the NFL, a running back does not fix your running game. That's why you've seen so many running backs like Le'Veon Bells of the world that have switched schemes. Did not look right and never looked the same outside the scheme that they were in, right? And then you have guys like Jerome Bettis, if you go way, way back, who were traded out of schemes that they didn't look particularly great in to a better scheme for them, and they went on to have Hall of Fame careers. I'm going to say this, and I keep saying this. The problem with the Bills' running game, it is not Devin Singletary. It is not James Cook, because now those are 2 different backs. We saw Zach Moss here. It wasn't Zach Moss. We saw we never even used our guy TJ Yeldon. So the same problem keep recurring. You can't tell me those are all 4 different backs before different tight backs. So you mean to tell me that none of them worked within your scheme? We're running the football. That means you have a inside blocking problem. You're not moving people off the ball. You're not opening lanes. And until you fix that problem, I don't care if Thurman Thomas came back in his prime. His stats would something behind his offensive line would be something like 10 carries for 35 yards, and he'd probably add another 12 receptions for like 100 yards. But it wouldn't be running the football. Sarah, what do you think? And I'll come back to you, Jane, because that's your subject.
Yeah, I think that we've probably missed Spencer Brown the last couple of weeks more than I'd like to admit. But I think that the consistency on the line is probably our biggest problem. When he went down with the injury, it was like, okay, well, we have depth and it's great. But then when you put the other people, when you start mixing up the rotation of the line, I think that it becomes more difficult for us to find that groove. And I think that that's part of the argument there is that whole groove part. When you have Josh Allen throwing the ball, 30 plus times a game normally, I don't think Singletary ever really gets, into that groove. And then at one point they were trying to split the carries between, 3 backs. So I think it'll be interesting moving forward because I don't think Josh is going to be throwing it a lot. So if he plays this week, I have a feeling it'll be a very run-heavy offensive game plan. So if we still can't get it going, then there's some serious questions that we're going to have to figure out over the next few weeks because, he won't be throwing the ball the way we want him to. I would be interested to see if he had more, than 15 passes per game, and they're going to be, little intermediate passes. I think that we're hoping, over the middle or, basically in the slot. We'll probably see a lot of that, but not a lot of the whole Gabe Davis, 70 yards down the field, like he threw on Sunday. So we'll see what happens, but I think that this is going to kind of set that standard if we can get the run game going this week, because we need to. If not, we're going to have a very long couple of weeks.
Yeah. James?
I'm in the minority here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think our run game is as bad as what people think. It's not. We're an elite passing team. Like, we're elite. With that, and I said this before, you become elite at anything. Whatever your profession is, whatever you do, by doing it, repping it, right? Whatever it is you do for a living, you rep it to be great. And that's what we do in the passing game, obviously, in practice. So with an elite passing game, you're going to make sure you do what you do great, right? So it's not a lot of time allocated to the running game. You can just tell. And I said that before. They're not doing a lot of inside run period. It's just not happening. And you can't get out there. You can't simulate the run game in practice without running the football and getting physical. With the injuries we have right now, it will be foolishness to really get physical like that in practice, because how pissed will Bills fans be to look on the report, this lineman is injured, got injured in practice, got his leg rolled up on the inside run period. This D lineman nursing a sore ankle now because of inside run period. Just think about how y'all would feel this Bills Mafia. Mm-hmm. Now, when I look at things, our running backs, they're not getting the yards that we want. But I think Devin Singletary has been he's been efficient at times. And then when you got to throw in what Josh does because he's part of the running game. So if you put that in there, we're okay running the football. We're not good. We're not terrible. We're okay. And you being an okay running team and elite passing team, you can win the Super Bowl that way. I think there's going to be points and times where we're going to have to run the football to win a game. That's going to happen. And we're going to have to, it may be Josh. Now, I think Duke Johnson is going to get elevated one of these weeks. They're going to elevate him one of these weeks. He's not there to sit on the practice squad the whole year. He's going to be elevated one of these weeks. Uh-huh. And they're going to see what he can do running the ball in between them tackles. So, I don't know who will be deactivated, whatever, but I'm telling you, it's coming. Duke Johnson is going to come because he's a bigger back. He's something we don't got. And he can catch the ball at the backfield, different things. So they probably want to see what he gets. He's a veteran. They're going to mix it up. But I just don't think our running game is as bad as what people saying. It's not. I mean, statistically, we in the top 15 or 16, right?
Yeah, but we are technically, but a lot of that comes from the Josh scrambles.
But he's part of the running game. You can't pick and choose. He's part of the run game. That's like saying Baltimore's not a good run team, but you take all Lamar stats away. Part of the run game. It's just what it is. He's part of the run game. So that's saying, okay, Baltimore, they can't run the ball because they running backs don't get 100. Just throw a number out there. They running backs don't get 100 yards. They can't run the ball. You got to put Lamar in there. He's part of the running game, right? Same thing with Josh. He's part of the running scheme. There's plays drawn up schematically for him to run the football. So you got to put him in the run game. Much as people don't want to, they want to look at the running backs production. Josh Allen's part of the run game. Right now, am I happy about it? No. But we would rather the running backs do the job. But he's part of the run game, and you got to consider that when talking about the run game.
No, I get it. I'm looking specifically at the backs. Now, if Josh was getting more design runs like we were, that's part of the run game for me. But a lot of these runs, like the scrambles he had 86 yards, but it's kind of like broken plays or defense falling asleep. I just rather I like to see us be able to run through the tackles better. And then back to your point, Sarah, I get that Spencer Brown is out, right? And I agree that we've seen the stats before when Spencer Brown is in and Spencer Brown is out. What's the differences in the running game? But my problem with that is that we're paying Mitch Morse top dollar. we're paying Deion Dawkins $63 million. We just signed Roger Saffold to say, hey, this was the missing piece inside the interior line to be able to run the football, and we gave Ryan Bates an extension. And Spencer Brown is like the lowest man on the totem pole right now as far as money goes across that line. And you telling me, hey, well, we're missing a guy who actually we didn't even think would be playing at this point in time, really. We went back to this time last year. We didn't think this dude would be playing yet. He wasn't supposed to be in there yet. It kind of happened by chance. It's going to be interesting to see what happens because Josh is most likely out for the next couple weeks. There's no confirmation, but I think we all have a little common sense here, and we kind of realize that, listen, Allen is most likely out for not just this week, but I assume at least probably at the very least, and I'm being generous, 2 weeks. I'm calling 4 personally because I believe this is a similar injury he had with Houston a couple years ago, his rookie year. But the reason I say it is this. If the Bills come out and they have Case Keenum and they win 2 games up front, then you can afford to let this dude rest 2 more weeks. Like Kyle said on Banged Up Bills, this injury is an injury that heals with rest and rehab. And you can't injure it worse by playing on it. So I don't think the Bills want to play with that $258 million right arm there. But
that's why Case here.
Huh?
That's why he's here. That's why Case Keenum here.
Yeah, that's why he's here. That brings me to my next question. Obviously, Josh is out. He's injured right now. But we can't go without talking about his last 2 performances and the cause for concern, right? So over those two performances, he's 31-59 for 423 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions, and a completion percentage of 52.4%. Obviously, this is not something we're used to. You know what I mean? This is not the performance that we're looking at. I need to kind of know if you guys are concerned about it. Does it really worry you long term? And what do you think the cause is? James, I'll come to you first on this one.
Listen, every team hit it at some point in time, where you it's just not clicking. Every single team goes through it. You have a spell where it's just not clicking for whatever reason. I think it's just one of those type of situations. It's nothing I've seen. I'm like, what in the world is going on? I haven't seen that yet. So I don't really got too much to say on it. I'm not. It's no cause for concern.
Okay. Sarah?
Yeah, ironically, last year, I feel like we went through the same thing. We had the bye week. We came back. Even though we won, we kind of still looked a little flat. And then the week after, we lost to Jacksonville, and we shouldn't have. So it kind of feels like the same, 2-week period after our bye. So I kind of feel like he will be fine. I'm not concerned with Josh. I just feel like that there's been some carelessness. I feel like he might have kind of gotten into this, this moment where he feels a little complacent, and he's been throwing the ball kind of carelessly and making a couple of very poor decisions. I know, he had the interception on the goal line because he was trying to throw it into the ground, and then throw it into the ground or throw it out of bounds. Don't throw it so someone could dive for the ball and get it. So it's a couple of those little, mistakes that he's been making that we haven't seen from him lately. But then he gets into, I think he still kind of gets into his head a little bit when that happens. When he makes those bad plays, then he feels like he has to take everything, onto his own shoulders, and he does stupid, a couple of stupid things going down the, going on after that. But a lot of people, keep on saying it's, the whole sugar high Josh from years ago. And
No.
I don't agree with that. And even though he had the 2 interceptions last week, they were bad interceptions. I still think that it's more him reading the defense. He said he didn't see it. He didn't see the 2 defenders. He didn't see the 1 defender. And on the other one, he said he just made a bonehead play.
Yeah.
I feel like, that's kind of where we've been at. And I kind of like that, I don't want to say I like that we lost to the Jets, but if we were going to, have a game that was going to smack them in the face, I think kind of like Jacksonville did last year, this is what we needed. So, yeah, I hope that he bounces back. I'm very nervous that you say 4 games. I was thinking that they would go 1 game at a time. In my opinion, I do feel like Case Keenum's probably going to start Sunday. They're not going to announce it until the very last moment, because obviously they want Minnesota to have to prepare for both quarterbacks. So I think it'll be a game time decision, even if they've already made the decision. But I also think that if we win, then okay, let's continue on. But I don't, if we lose, I don't think that they risk keeping him out any further, especially as much as I know he wants to play.
Yeah.
I guess it's going to be very interesting to see what the choices here. Like I said, the only reason I say 4 games because, like I said, I've seen this injury before, and honestly, as a former baseball player, this is pretty much, if you're a pitcher, this is pretty much season ending. You know what I mean?
But they do say that it's different for a pitcher versus a quarterback, and I was actually just watching something today about it. So they said it's very different injuries. The way it's the same injury, but it affects the throw very differently. Based on baseball versus football.
Well, that like I said, it is. Like I said, that's what I'm saying. If it was baseball, it'd be season ending. That's it. And actually, you could easily lose 2 seasons in baseball with this injury. Football's a little bit different. That's why I'm saying 4 games. Obviously, I prefer to see 3 games if possible, because you do get an extra little time there after Thanksgiving with the Lions. You get a couple extra days off, so it's almost like a three and a half games really when you look at how the schedule's made up. If the Bills can come out and win this game versus Minnesota, then I think you're guaranteed to start Case Keenum the very next week again. And if goal strikes again, then I think you go to Thanksgiving and you start Case Keenum a 3rd time, because I think if you can't afford to rest it, you do so. Now, as far as back to Josh and his play the last 2 games, I'm not concerned. I agree with you, Sarah. This is not sugar rush Josh Allen. I thought what I saw the other week versus the Jets, I thought I saw a quarterback whose ego got to him, and not that he has one, but he's a ballsy quarterback. They probably chirping out there. He's feeling like they got the best of me right now. I'm going to come right back at you. I'm going to show you. And we've seen it from him before, but we've seen it in the W's. This one happened to be an L. Do I want to see that from him? Hey, of course I want him to stay with that mentality. But we just got to be a little bit more smarter with the football. We got to be more protective of the football and can't be turn it over, things as such. Because especially these turnovers that we're getting in the red zone, like we had versus Green Bay, like we had versus the Jets, those are points. Even if we're not getting touchdowns, those are like chip shot field goals that we're taking off the board. Which in a game like this, when you look at a score 20-17, that changes things a lot right there. So not really cause of concern. Like I said, get healthy. But one of the other things before we move on, I want to talk about is obviously Case Keenum and the possibility of him starting. So on my personal blog page on Facebook, I had a question out there. And the question was, if Case Keenum had to start 4 games, what do you think the record would be? So I'm going to come to you guys, ask you guys, what do you think the record would be if he had to play 4 games, Sarah?
4 games. That would be the Vikings, the Browns, the Lions, and then the Patriots.
Yeah.
Ooh. I'm not going to be as confident as you.
Okay.
I'm thinking if he's required to do it and it's not a week-to-week, game-to-game scenario, I'm looking at more of maybe a 2-2.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that the Patriots defense is better than we give them credit for, and I think that the Vikings are gonna cause him some fits. Now, do I think we can beat the Vikings? Yes. But then there'll be some tape. So then, Cleveland will be able to see him playing in a game. And, Cleveland knows Keenum as well. So it'll be interesting to see. But I'm trying to be actually a little bit positive when I say 2-2. And that's again if we don't do a game to game. I saw him play during summer, It concerns me a little bit. Now, granted, he just came into the team. He's been learning, and now he'll have a whole week of first team reps. So hopefully that does the trick. But I was not impressed during preseason at all.
It actually answer Cody Wells' question. It was actually James that mentioned, I think last week, that we were trying to get Case Keenum in free agency years ago to be our starters. Definitely James. James, what do you think, man? If he had to play 4 games, what do you think the record? I'm with Sarah. I got 2-2.
I'm willing to say 4-0.
Really?
Okay. The reason being, what's Case Keenum's strength?
Getting rid of the ball quickly.
That's what we need right now. We need Gabe Davis. We need to get the ball in his hands, get his confidence up. Now, guess who else would benefit from that? Dawson Knox.
Okay.
And let's not forget, Case Keenum ain't no bum. He can start on a lot of NFL teams. He can. Yeah. He's not a scrub, and he can throw the ball. And by nature, he slangs the ball around. That's what he do by nature. In college, that's what he did. And let's not forget, it's a little bit easier. He has some. His best year as a pro was with Stephon Diggs. Let's not forget that. So I really think they can go 4-0. It's not like we playing Kansas City or, where you can go to a shootout where you can literally, if he have a quarter and a half of good football, 2 quarters, we can win. I think we can. Just don't turn the ball over, man. Don't turn the ball over. I think we can go 4-0. Will we go 4-0? I don't know, but I think we can. Patriots don't scare me. Cleveland, come on, man. The Lions, that's the team that scared me more than any of the other 4 because they gritty. They rough and rugged. Them dudes gonna come. They gonna come with it. Those are the type of teams that scare me with our team. Because we more of a basketball and grass type of team. But we get a team like that that's rough riders and they gonna get down and dirty, which the Lions are. That's the team that scares me more than Minnesota and Cleveland.
Detroit's defense doesn't scare me though as much as the rest. So if we're talking strictly Case Keenum and the offense, I think Detroit's the one team that doesn't scare me as much because I don't have confidence in their defense. Now their offense, we need to be able to maintain pace with them because they are scoring a lot of points. So in my opinion, it won't really be about Case Keenum. It'll be about the defense on each game that he plays. So I think that if the defense can keep us close, then it's a lot, we're talking, it's a lot easier for us to say it'll be a victory, but it's going to be whether or not the defense actually has good games because they can't play the way that they did against the Jets.
I love that you said it's about the defense because I think ultimately that's what this all boils down to. We have possibly the best defense in the NFL, top 3 for sure. And not that they haven't been showing up all year because they've been showing up. Even in the Miami game, they showed up due to the conditions, right? Jets game, they put this offense in multiple chances to win the game and they didn't do it. We're going to need more of that over these next couple games if Josh is not there. If the defense plays like this if this defense plays the way I think they can, then I think 3-1 is very feasible. I think you would drop one of the games without Keenum. I'm not sure if it'd be this Viking game because I think the Vikings, they're 7-1, but they're not very strong 7-1. They've had some nail biters against some pretty bad football teams in that stretch. But the whole point is you have to pull the W. You have to win the game, and they've done that. But with that being said, when I look at the schedule, I look at Cleveland. You don't know what you're going to get for Jacoby Brissett. If you shut down the Cleveland run game, it's no guarantee Cleveland will beat you. Detroit, as much as Detroit scares me, I'm with you, James. Going to Detroit on a Thanksgiving Day game, they're probably going to get up for it. They've been playing a lot of gritty ball, and they put up a lot of points this year. That one scares me a little bit. I still think Buffalo will win that one. I think the 2 we worry about is Minnesota and New England. So that brings me to my next question for you. Does it matter to you guys if the Bills win the AFC East, A, and B, does home field advantage really matter? Because I think this is some questions that now we have to start talking about a little bit more now.
But if we don't If Josh Allen is so, I mean, he's elite. Obviously, I think he's top 2 in the league. Bias, I think he's the best. If we can't go 3-1 with a fringe starter while he's out, we got bigger issues. We got bigger issues. If Josh Allen means we go 1-3 or 2-2 without him, and Case Keenum, who isn't a bum, if it was Barkley back there, we have to be having a whole different discussion. But Case Keenum can play football, man. He can play.
Right.
If we got way bigger problems if we can't hold it down. It's not like we got Matt Barkley. So that's my thing. In regards to your question, I think we're gonna win the AFC East regardless. I think we're gonna win that. But does it matter? No. And home field advantage, you said, right, JT?
Yeah, home field advantage. It's part 2, yeah.
No. The reason being, it's about who's hot. And how much of a home field advantage is it if this I don't know, let's say 10 degrees outside and crazy wind? Is that a home field advantage? No. But if you go somewhere where it's warm and play and we have passing offense, good weather, no matter where we at, it's a home field advantage. Sarah, you go to the games. We always got home field advantage. It's Bills Mafia everywhere. So, yeah. I mean, how much do that really matter? I think it's overrated. A lot of people
I think where it matters is Kansas City. And we've kind of shown I don't mind playing anywhere else in the playoffs. But Kansas City, it matters. We don't show up as much as I would like to say that Bills Mafia shows up for Kansas City. So and it's just a loud environment. It's a hard environment to play in. Yes, granted, we've won both games in the regular season the last 2 years. But then, I feel like there's a little bit of kryptonite there when it comes into the playoffs. I don't want to see us playing there. So when I say, do we need to win our division? Yes. I 100%, believe that we have to do that. I do not want to go in as a wild card at all. I don't think that, not even having to play the extra game. It would be nice to have the week off and to, be able to recoup everybody. But there's a difference with winning the division and that confidence. So yes, we have to do that. Now, I want to win the conference. I want to be the number 1 seed. Do we need it? I think we only need it if Kansas City has a better record.
All right. So, we were having this discussion last week, right? Not in our group chat. And to me, I don't think either one of them matters. I really don't. I feel like the AFC East title, I think it's bragging rights, more of a bragging right and superlative for fans, right? For the fan base to say, hey, we kicked your ass. We were the AFC East champions. It's great. Now, mind you, if Josh Allen was healthy, I'd say we should have both of those because Brandon Beane told me that Von Miller was the missing piece. And since you told me that Von Miller was the missing piece, I'm going to hold you to that, right? But now that there is a hitch in the plans just a little bit, I don't think either one matters. And it doesn't scare me to play in Case. I'll tell you what. It may scare me to go on the road and play in a place that's not familiar to the Bills. Like maybe going to Cincinnati. Maybe going to LA and playing the Chargers. Something like that they haven't played. And we've played in Kansas City for like, what, is it 3-4 straight years now just about?
But statistically speaking, we are bad on the road in the playoffs. I mean, we're undefeated at home and we do not win when we're on the road. So I mean, like, it does matter technically. So I mean, we've proven that it matters.
Me personally, I'm so against that because it's like, if we look at that, it's just like, I'm not an analytics type of dude. It's just like, if we look at that, it's like, okay, we shouldn't even show up then if it's a damn away game. You know what I mean? Like, I look at it that way. It's like, and it's a different team. It is because Von Miller makes a difference. He does. I mean, we haven't had somebody like that since Mario Williams that can really get to the quarterback, right? So I think that makes a difference as well.
Yeah, we're also talking those seedings. So if you don't win the East, we're going in as a
5. 5 or
Yeah,
4.
which
5.
means that we're going against number 4. So, like that means we're pretty evenly matched up most of the time. But we're also going every single round of the playoffs. We're going into somebody else's house. So, I definitely think that we need to win. 100% we need to win the East.
And it's possible we can go to Miami.
It's very possible. I love that.
We'd be in Miami, and it'd be an 80-degree weather, 70-degree weather playoff game.
And I'd absolutely love that. I'm sorry, man. Like I said, maybe I'm in the minority. I absolutely love it. Personally, I just care about getting Josh Allen healthy to the playoffs. I don't care how we get there. I don't care if it's 12-5, and then we have to do that. As long as his right arm is 110% ready to go, and Russo's ready. I think no matter where you place this team at, whatever road we have to take, I don't think any road should be a problem.
And
would it be nice
if we could choose Miami? I'm all for it.
I love.
We can't choose those though. Like I don't want to have to go and play Cincinnati a week after playing them Monday Night Football. So like those are the things that we have to think about. As one of the wild card teams. So I don't want to have to consider those. Those options, and it's not like it is an option. If you can tell me that we would definitely play Miami in Miami, I'm like, okay, save me a plane ticket. It's all fine and dandy, and I don't got to worry about the weather. But it's not reality. So we can end up, playing against, I don't want to, prop anybody else up, but maybe it's not Kansas City. Maybe we play them the first round, which is, maybe they're the 4th seed. Or maybe we're playing, Baltimore.
But once again, those are 2 places that we've been this year. Like that's what I like about it. I'm like, it doesn't worry me that much because we play Cincinnati at home or away this year.
It's away Monday Night Football before it's
That's week what 16 or 17?
17.
Right. So think about this, right? We've played in Kansas City the last 3 years. We played Kansas City, twice last year at home, once this year, and the year before that. We played in Kansas City 4 times. That's, at this point, to me, that's neutral territory. We've been there. The Bills know where the bathroom is. They know where the hotel room is. They know where the pool.
For the players, but for the fan base, we might get 20% of fans in there. We don't, unless we can quiet them and shut them up, which is, we didn't do that this year during the home game. We did it last year during the home game. We kicked their ass, so they were quiet 90% of that game. But it's not normally like that.
No, but like I said, one point is it's just nothing's gonna be unfamiliar, right? So just say we had a 5 seed or 6 seed. Anybody above us right now, nothing is unfamiliar, right? Nothing's gonna be unfamiliar. The only thing that scares me is Cincinnati, and Cincinnati a little bit scares me just a little bit. That's about the only one because I feel like Cincinnati is so inexperienced that they do play better at home and they don't play as good on the road. Personally, that's just me.
Yeah, Baltimore's gonna win that division.
Yeah, pretty much. So go back to the stat thing, right? So I know that some people are saying like, "Hey, we're better on the road than we are at home." So I want to go back to those 3 home wins in the playoffs, right? You had New England, who we absolutely destroyed. That was a revenge game, and I don't even think New England was a playoff team. They backdoor they were in, but they got in. Right, we beat the hell out of what we should. The Colts get playoff game. We definitely should have lost that ball game.
We definitely should have.
Frank Wright coached himself in. Unfortunately, they didn't pick the right one, baby, on this one because they had to fire his ass this week. He pretty much coached himself into a playoff loss against Buffalo that game. Baltimore was another game that we pretty much could have lost. So I don't think we played particularly well at home in our home playoff games. So the only one we played really well was New England. We absolutely destroyed. I thought was an average team at best. But the other 2 games I felt were games we really could have lost. If Teron Johnson doesn't get that interception, that may be a different outcome.
We have definitely a very different team than we did 2 years ago. But I still think we need to at least win the division. I think that when it comes to the playoffs, I hate that you're speaking it into existence, Jared. I do not want to go back to Kansas City this year. Don't want it. I keep on telling myself I've been to Kansas City 5 times in the last 3 years because I went there for a Yankees game as well. I am over it, and I have to go back next year for the draft. I do not want to go for the playoffs. So,
well, Kansas City need to handle business themselves because that division ain't gonna lay down for them.
No,
they got issues over there.
Well, I don't know, man. They only got the Chargers. The Raiders are
really
completely
now.
Yeah, the Raiders are completely imploded, and Russell Wilson is still saying, "Let's ride Bronco country." So we'll see what happens with that.
Russell Wilson gets hot. You laughing? But let him get hot.
I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing at it, but it's
I'm
possible.
kind of laughing at that one.
He might, but
find out real quick.
It's a scary thought. All right, it's a scary thought, but I don't know. Like I said,
us.
Yeah, I just think that, you know, at the end of the day, as long as we're in the dance, it doesn't matter how we have to our road. I think we have the best team in the NFL still, and I think as long as we go in there healthy, in the playoffs, and I mean having Milano back and having Poyer and having Edmonds ready to go, that you could put us in Antarctica and we should beat the hell out of the team across the field. I don't care what the fans are doing. I think you go in there and you beat the hell. Because Brandon Bean, you told me that, and I'm holding you accountable for that. And if you don't, it's a failure. So, but that's a good debate. I like that. That was very interesting. That was very interesting takes there. That brings it to the last topic of the night. Now, obviously, I don't know how many of you guys drink milk. I know some people drink lactose. Some people drink Lactaid. Some people drink whole milk. Some people drink skim milk. But either way, no matter the way you drink it, Ed Oliver has been in your milk carton because he's been absolutely missing. And I do understand that he had the ankle injury for a couple weeks. Give him a pass on that. But right now, Ed Oliver has, I think, like 13 tackles, no sacks. He was supposed to be the one that was supposed to benefit the most from the Von Miller signing and the Greg Rousseau maturity, right? He was supposed to have his one-on-one matchups in the inside and able to actually crush his matchup. He's not doing that. And in a game like last week versus the Jets, where he's healthy now, okay, he didn't show up. And I'm wondering what is going on now, because before he was being double teamed. Then he's playing the one tech, and he shouldn't be playing the one tech. Now he's in the right spot, and everybody else is getting sacks, but not Ed. James, I'm going to come to you first.
He's always going to be the type of player where his stats will never tell the true story. Because if you watch how he's pushing the pocket and creating pressure from the interior, he's bringing a lot of pressure in that interior up that middle. He's going to always be that type of player where his stats will never tell truly his value. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he's missing. I know we would like to see more sacks out of him, don't get me wrong. But I think he's playing solid. I mean, not out of his mind, but he's playing solid.
Sarah?
I mean, our tackles have never really been on the stat sheet for sacks, and I wasn't expecting it. Even with the Von Miller signing, I was expecting Von and Groot to be the ones, getting the double-digit sacks. I was never expecting it to be our interior D-line. But there's this thing going on right now where people are saying he's missing, and I don't get it. His snap count is a lot less than he's used to. He's now kind of behind Daquan Jones, and I think he was actually behind Phillips last week. No, Settle didn't have as many. But so behind Phillips and Daquan Jones, and he still ended up, because when you said we were talking about we were going to talk about him, I wanted to look because I felt like I saw him a lot last week. He led the defensive line in tackles. Granted, it was only 4. We didn't tackle. We didn't quite tackle well at all last week, but he still led the whole line in tackles. So I don't like the narrative that he's not showing up. I again never really looked at him as he's going to get all these sacks. So I just felt like the way that our defensive line was going to be was going to kind of mature this year was we now have 2 ends that can cause that can get pressure while we're maintaining the interior and not letting the run get out of control. And then Milano and Edmonds also having, a year because of our defensive tackles. I never really thought of, that sacks have to be on his stat line. But again, he was like, I think third on Sunday and what his snap count was, and he had the most tackles. So he, did the most of what time he had out there.
All right. So I respect both of you guys' opinion, right? For me, he's not doing it. He's not doing enough for me. This is not a guy that we took in the bottom half of the first round. This is not a guy we took in the second round that's giving us more production than we expected or something like that. This is a guy we took in the top 10 of the NFL draft. A guy who was supposed to come in the NFL and wreak havoc. And I'm not saying he hasn't had a good NFL career so far, and I'm not, by no means am I calling him a bust. I'm just saying that on this defensive line, with Edgar Rousseau, who has 5 sacks, a Von Miller, who is one of the best pass rushers in the history of this league and still has 7 sacks, that you're still not beating your matchup to get to the quarterback. When I see a guy in your division in Quinnen Williams, and I'm wrong, Quinnen Williams is an MF and monster.
He definitely.
They don't talk. We don't talk enough about Quinnen Williams and the player that he is. We hear about the Chris Jones, but we don't talk about him. I need the sack totals from Ed Oliver. He's in discussion for contract extension talk about among this fan base. When we have shows and we talk about Tremaine Edmonds or Ed Oliver, and I'm asking these questions, I need more sacks. I need more production from that position. This is your number what? This is your number 4, right?
Yep, 4.
There's no reason that he shouldn't have at least 1 sack. And mind you, I do believe one got called back on a penalty. He did get 1. I need more. I need at least 7 sacks. You're a defensive tackle. You're 285 pounds. You're a pure 3 tech. That's what you do. This is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to wreak havoc inside. And as much as he pushes the pocket, as much as he may defend the run decently, at the end of the day, I need sacks from him. Because ultimately, some team's going to pay him for exactly that.
JT, he going to give you 2 this week.
Give it to me. I'm ready. I've been waiting.
I just disagree on the fact. I mean, you have like Aaron Darnold, who is Donald is that defensive tackle that's going to get you the sacks. But that's because they scheme it that way. I don't feel like he is out there. He's only out there for about 30% of the snaps to begin with, or 40. Like for him to only be out there, we have such a rotation with our defensive tackles. For him to have 7 sacks is just not reality, especially because we don't blitz like that with our interior linemen. So you're expecting him to beat to beat his guy every single time that he's out there and get at least, a sack every game. We just don't ever, we've never been that way with our defensive tackles. We've always looked to our ends to be the ones that are doing the blitzing and to get those sacks. So it's different because, like you said, we were talking about the Jets. They have a defensive tackle that is schemed into blitzing the quarterback. And I think, that's the differences between, teams is that, the way our defensive line is set up. I just don't think that it's something that Frazier has, kind of schemed towards in, the packages that we have out there. I don't think that you see it unless literally the whole pocket collapses and then we get, most of the time it's, a double, 2 people are sharing a sack.
Well, this is the thing. Outside of Lamar Jackson, there's been very few games where we didn't just put our front 4 in there and say, hey, go get the quarterback. That's pretty much our scheme right now. We're paying you guys go get the quarterback. It's not like, now Lamar was different. You can't just go in there and just, we lost James. He'll be back. you can't just go in there, Lamar Jackson, and just go in full attack mode and say, hey, go get him. That's not too smart, and that hasn't worked out very good for a lot of teams. But when we played the Jets, we let him go. Now, mind you, like I said, I'm gonna give him a little bit of a pass here because there was a stretch of games that he missed because of that ankle, and there was a couple games that he played that the ankle wasn't healthy either. Okay, I just need more. I need sacks. And I mean, I held Jerry Hughes to the same standard. And as solid as he played, I need those numbers from you. I need it, and I mean, I think he's going to need those numbers. Now, mind you, I was talking to James on the phone yesterday, right? I woke up and I had this crazy thought. I'm like, I'm looking at the Bills cap space for next year, and I'm like, there's no way in hell that they can extend Ed Oliver as I go through these contracts. I think it's like a 95% chance that there's no way in hell with the cap that they can do that. I don't even know if they can extend Edmonds if he keeps playing the way he's playing, right?
Don't we have Oliver on his 5th-year option next year?
Next year.
Yeah.
You don't. I think they should.
We already. I thought we already optioned that. So.
Oh, they optioned it.
So then he would already be on. He would already be part of the salary cap.
Right, he is. But the Bills are scheduled to be $4 million over the cap next year. If you trade Ed Oliver on his 5th-year option, it frees up $10.6 million immediately. Pre or post June 1st, doesn't even matter. And I was telling James, I said, if you can't extend this guy, it's time to move him in the offseason and get some value from him, which I like the Texans. You send him home. They're looking to build a culture. Hell, they already took Jerry Hughes and Mario Addison. Why don't you take the young guy if you're going to take him, right? And I'm thinking a 2nd and a 6th-round pick. And I think that would add a lot of value for Buffalo when you know you're going to need a safety possibly. You may need another linebacker. You may need to draft another interior lineman. You may need to get another receiver in there. There's things that we need that we know that we can't afford on the free agency market. Boy, we need to load up with some premium picks here. And I think if the time is right in the offseason, if you know you can't afford to pay Ed Oliver, because don't remind you, what you guys say about him is correct. He's a very solid football player. And so I want to overpay for him a little bit to get the potential to the sacks and try to scheme him for it. Okay? No doubt in my mind. You can't have enough pass rushers in this league. But at the end of the day, I think this is one guy you can't let walk for free. This is something that maybe you need to look into in the offseason.
Yeah.
Because you have Daquan Jones and Tim Settle and Jordan Phillips. You have guys there. And Boogie Basham can play your 3-tech inside on passing downs. And we've seen just how effective Greg Rousseau has been doing on passing downs. I think you can scheme him out of here, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't disagree if we're going to let him go that you got to get something for him.
Yeah.
So if we're, and that's with anything. I think that like if we don't plan on, re-signing Singletary, it would be, it would have been smart to try to trade him. I think that's with anybody. If you know that they're not coming back next year, trying to get something for them is smart. So I definitely think we're going to need to look heavy at safety. We're going to have to, look for a running back, and we're going to have a couple of pieces that we're going to need in the off season. So getting something is definitely better than just letting him walk.
Right. And I think this is different. The little bit difference between like Singletary and him is, I think more teams are getting to the point now where they're like, listen, if we don't have 3 backs on the roster, we're just going to keep our backs all season in case 2 go down with injury, and we'll let them walk in the off season because we're not going to get anything more than probably a 5th. It seems like the going rate for running backs nowadays are 5th-round picks or starting at 5th-round picks. And at that point, we might well just keep this guy for the rest of the season as a good insurance policy, Like even by trading Zach, we just got another running back. So to replace him. James, what's your thoughts, man, on that and just that trade scenario possibly?
If you plan on signing Evans back and you don't got the funds to sign Oliver, then you got to do that. You got to bust that move. So I'm all for it. Get something for him. Instead of letting.
Go ahead, repeat yourself. I'm sorry.
I cut out?
Yeah, a little bit. You're good now.
I'm sorry. I don't know. So I had to change devices. My bad, John. I apologize. But what I was saying was, because y'all can hear me clear right now, right?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, but no, what I was saying is, you got to get something for him instead of letting him walk away for nothing. So if we can get a 2nd or a 3rd and a 6th, I think you take it and you turn those in because we shown that we can draft. We get some value out of our draft picks. So I think that you could turn him into two other players. I think you do it.
Got it. No, that's it. I mean, I know Cindy asked is group week to week. Yeah, I believe he is. I mean,
He is
sprained
high ankle
ankle.
sprain.
Did he practice it? Was he on the do not? He was on the do not practice
Yeah,
yesterday, right?
high ankle sprain. He's gonna be out for a few weeks, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I have a
I don't
feeling,
think.
yeah.
I
And
don't
it
think
is
he's
a
good.
high ankle sprain, is from whatever, everything I've seen.
The video too. I think
Yeah,
they
take your
found it
time
on
to get back too. Take your
they
time.
they found it on video too. I think when it happened. So not good news there. Cody Wells asked us Oliver, new trade candidate, plum trade candidate next year if things don't change. Either him or Dane Jackson would be for me. I think you have to put Dane Jackson in that list too because a lot of teams are gonna be calling for Dane. Dane is a hell of a
He gonna
football
be a
player.
draft day trade
Yeah, I can believe that. I can believe
if
that.
you do.
Yeah. So, but before we get out here, any final thoughts? Sarah, I'll let you go first.
I just hope that we show up on Sunday, and definitely I can't use too many more of these close games, but I have a feeling if Josh doesn't play, it will be close. So I just hope. I don't know if we cover, but I do think that we're gonna pull off the victory. I've
Are we
never voted.
favorites?
We are. The point spread has went down over the last couple of days. I think it started at 7. Now I think it's at 5.5 or 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
So it has went down. But I'm looking at 24-17, 24-20. Just because I'm being skeptical with who will be playing at quarterback. I have a feeling it'll be Keenum.
Yeah, I think we are getting that little intuition. Safe travels this week, by the way.
Yeah,
James?
Safe travels. All right, here we go. This is how I'm rocking. We're going 27-17 Bills. Case Keenum throwing for 250 plus, 2 touchdowns. Holla.
So I should pick him up my fantasy, huh?
Yeah, Diggs over 100. It'll be the Case Keenum and Diggs show.
Case Keenum to throw the football.
Yeah, and I think it'll be cool to see Cook out there, kind of opposite his brother, and him wanting to show him up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he gets a couple of opportunities. But I think that regardless, I think Hines is going to have a lot more of an impact this week. So I also had talked about the other day with Elam being injured, that I'm wondering if we're going to call up Rhodes, because at this point in time we don't really know who's going to be healthy on our with our DBs. So it'll be interesting to see if we pick them up from the practice squad.
Great minds think alike. I swear, I was gonna say they not even gonna try to put Elam on the field. They definitely gonna call Rose up. In my opinion, I don't even think they're gonna try to put him out there.
Well, it'll be the perfect time for him to get up for a game, right? Him, Keenum, and Diggs, right? This is familiar territory here.
Right,
but,
right.
I think the Bills are in good hands with Case Keenum. I think that if anyone has ever had any sort of faith in Cal Orton, you should be head over heels for Case Keenum. I'm not saying you had a lot of faith in Cal Orton there. I'm just saying the comparison is there. I see a lot of people on Twitter talking about Case Keenum and me worried. Listen, if you ever loved Cal Orton and you were comfortable with him in there, you should be more than comfortable with Case Keenum.
We went through some years, man. We went through some years.
We did. No, Case Keenum could play some football. And like I said, let's not forget that this is a guy who has 64 career starts in his repertoire. And he's not like Joe Flacco. He's not like 37 or 38 years old and just collecting paychecks and mentoring. This guy can still play some football. He was just a starting quarterback a few years ago, and he played.
He's playing to get paid again. He's playing for his life.
He's trying to get one more deal in. Okay, this is a guy who's with Cleveland last year, and he played 2 games, 580 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, completion percent of 63%. This is a guy who can play some football. Don't sleep on him. But either way, the defense has to show up. As Sean McDermott said best, everybody has to step up now. And maybe this is a blessing in disguise. Maybe this gets everybody at their comfort zone a little bit. Because maybe we've been depending or relying on Josh Allen a little too much.
Yeah.
And, sometimes when shit hits the fan, it creates urgency.
It was kind of interesting hearing them talk about Josh, though, with practice and him being on the sidelines. talking, to what he's seeing. And,
Mm-hmm.
he's, kind of looking at it now as almost like an offensive coordinator,
Mm-hmm.
and explaining what's going wrong and what's, going right. And he's seeing it in a different view. So I think it'll be good down the road that when he
Mm-hmm.
does get back out there, whether it's, surprises us with this week or future weeks, that he's had that where he's just sitting and watching and
Mm-hmm.
seeing plays develop.
I'm glad you said that. Similar injury, rookie season, Texans. Sat out for about 4 weeks, came back. What did he say? It was when he got to sit back and watch on the sideline, everything slowed down from him. The guy's been in a little bit of a slump. He's going to see different things. He's going to come back at an animal, whether that's a game, whether that's 2 games, whether it's 3, whether it's 4. He's going to come back with a vengeance. And that's part of the reason I have no worry, whether it's AFC East title, home field advantage, send me to I don't know, send me the South America and play some football. And then I'm not right. As long as I got Josh Allen coming back, I'm good. I'm ready to go. But either way, Case Keenum, let's get it done if you're playing this week. And we'll see you guys next week sometime. Peace.
Bye, guys. Go Bills.
Go Bills.